Here we're talking to a member of the Nilotic tribes. Although there are fewer than 1 million of these tribe members, they are integral to Kenya. Now, what group are you part of in the Nilotic tribes?
I'm from the Maasai tribe. We nomads roam the southern region of Kenya and survive mainly through herding.
What are the other primary Nilotic tribes?
Well, there are the Furumbu, who inhabit parts of central Kenya, and there are also the Tarakan, who live in regions around the northwest.
And where did your tribes originate from?
Well, we were originally from eastern Sudan and followed the Nile until we ended up here.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a nice day. And now to our coverage in the Central Highlands and coastal hinterlands.
Now we are face to face with a member of the Bantu tribes, the largest and wealthiest of the 3 tribal groups in Kenya. The Bantu are laborious farmers who have settled in the Central Highlands and coastal hinterlands. Could you tell us a little background on your tribe?
Well, there are many subgroups in Bantu. There are the Kiyu, the Emru, the Mayu, the Mbriyu, the Kemba, the Tharaka tribes. There are also the Makindi, which contains 9 other tribes along the Kenyan coast.
Where did the Bantu tribe originate from?
We mainly migrated from Central and West Africa and headed east even to the coast. We settled in areas where there was good farming, so the environment became a decisive factor for where we intended to settle. This movement also began trade with Arabs.
And back to you, Anchor One.
You are joining us now with a member of the Cushite tribes, whose ancestors were the earliest black Africans. Could you give us a brief history of your people?
Well, our empire covered the largest vast land, especially around the 1500 BCE, and for centuries after, with the capital being Moroni and on the Nile. At one point, my people were so powerful that we conquered ancient Egypt.
Nice, nice. That's very interesting. Could you describe where and how your people live in Kenya?
Most Kushites in Kenya are nomadic. We graze our cattle and hunt on the northern parts of the country. We can be found in the region surrounding Lake Tharaka on the coast. Unfortunately, we don't have the largest presence in Kenya. In our largest group, the Somali, they're the only ones who have more than a few thousand members.
And now, back to Athena to give you an exclusive interview on an Arab trader.
Here we are with your common everyday Arabian trader. Could you please explain your vocation?
Well, I have to talk to many people, dark people, Africans, and we trade or spend a lot of time along the east coast of Africa.
What is the life like along the coast?
Well, many people like me make frequent trips to the coast, and when more and more people began trading, ports and shelters started to grow. Many Arabian traders also like to marry women from the Bantu tribes, and this mix of languages and cultures has grown into this dialect of Swahili.
Thank you for your time, sir. Now back to Anchor One with this special interview with Vasco da Gama.
Mr. da Gama, could you please explain the purpose of your voyage?
Well, first off, King John signed the Treaty of Tordesillas, which allowed us Portuguese the sole right to explore and set up trade connections in Africa. I was going to set up these connections and find out exactly what was beneficial to Portugal down here.
What did you learn about Africa?
I learned fairly quickly that the commercial life here is prosperous and had extreme potential. I also learned of the gold in Sofala and the harbors here where we could trade with India. On the other hand, I also learned that the people here are very hostile. Very, very hostile, kill people. And we had to use force to gain any authority. Also, the sultans of Mombasa and Malindi were rivals, and we would not unite even to fight an outside enemy.
Could you explain how your imperialistic efforts are important to your motherland?
Because of me, Portugal is able to control the majority of eastern trading ports, which prevents our enemies from surprising our commercial efforts, and also secures a spot between India and Portugal. This also helps us bring in more revenue from taxes and control of the town, along with controlling the gold in Sofala.
Why were the Portuguese so successful?
Our soldiers were widely more successful than Africans. We have cannons and muskets, along with large ships and strong armor. Compared to the ill-prepared, disunited tribes we were fighting against, we also have built large forts, like Fort Jesus, for protection.
What were the reasons that your influence started to decline?
Although I love the motherland, we are extremely small and had a hard time supplying the manpower. Within this manpower, many of the officials were corrupt and just looking to make a quick fortune. Also, once we united with Spain, much of our power decreased and was furthered when Turkey and the British and the Dutch started to increase the trading spheres of influence. A mixture of not setting up colonies to mix with the cultures and what the perceived as an arrogant behavior led to rebellions that were facilitated by the new Oman.
Now back to Anchor 2 for the opinion from the tribes of East Africa of the Portuguese.
Here we are with a 16th century Bantu tribe member. Could you tell us what you felt about the first European visitors to come to Africa?
Well, there weren't very many Portuguese. They didn't have very much impact on the coastal people. However, they caused great destruction through the raids and destruction of towns and burning the crops. The worst part were the taxes that the Portuguese imposed on us, which created poverty for many Africans.
Did the Portuguese have any positive impacts for the Africans?
Well, socially, we did benefit with stronger bonds with India, and more people began to migrate to the east coast of Africa for trade, including craftsmen. Also, we developed new words in the key Swahili language because so much interaction with the Portuguese with trade.
Thank you for your valuable time, sir.